Facebook does not continue to present videos to people that never consume videos on social media, and vice versa. So that's why we want to focus on just giving those 2 or 3 variations of ads and just letting Facebook do its thing with that particular audience. It's not confusing at all.
So going to our CBO campaign, it's also fairly similar to creating an ABO campaign. The only difference is the campaign level. Earlier, when we created the video view campaign, the budget allocations were assigned under the ad set level. For CBO campaigns, budget allocation will be determined under your campaign level. As the name suggests, it's campaign budget optimization. You can also set your bid strategy for the campaigns you are running. Especially for this one, we are using a conversion campaign. And we are also first gonna name the campaign correctly. So this can be conversions. Start with CBO, conversions. And let's say this is for bestsellers. Now,
do you want to answer Mindy's question? She says, don't you want engage shoppers too? I think this is from what you were doing on the earlier one.
Yes, you can add or test out multiple audiences for your ABO campaigns if you want to narrow it down by another main interest you are aiming for, or you can narrow it down by engaged shoppers, or if you're selling in Amazon, you can narrow it down by the interest Amazon.com.
The people that click on the call to actions, just so you know, Mindy, it's not that they are actually buying stuff on the internet. Engaged shoppers means that they are clicking on the call to action buttons. They actually might be window shoppers. And Facebook calls them engaged shoppers just because they click on the call to action button, but it's an audience that we definitely love using and testing out.
Yes. One question from Claudia. So you keep interests for the other ad sets the same, just change the age. Wouldn't this be overlapping? I guess that makes sense if FB looks at the age. Yes, they actually would not overlap since we are, or we do have different audience or age brackets. Ad set 1 is 30 to 40. Ad set 2 is 41 to 50. The reason being is we wanted to see which audience bracket is actually going to engage more, or which audience bracket we're going to get most of the results from. And then that way, once you are building your brackets afterwards or retargeting them afterwards, you have a general idea of the audiences that may convert better with your campaigns or ads afterwards. So if you start with a video view campaign, then you switch to a traffic campaign, you'll have some idea that audience bracket 40 to 50 converts better compared to audience 30 to 40.
All right, let's just handle these questions over here. Mindy's asking another one. She's on fire today. What is the strategy to have 2 different ads? Isn't it confusing when you have different ad sets too? Mindy, we didn't talk about that side of things today, but generally we like to have one campaign, and we like to have, depending on the strategy, CBO, let's say, we have 4 or 5 audiences in it. And then we like to have a maximum of 3 ads. Why is that confusing? No, I don't believe that's confusing. I believe that there's some people that engage more with videos and some people engage more with visuals and images. Some people never watch videos on Facebook, and some people never consume written text. So it really does depend. And the reason why I like to do 3 variations is because I get to do 1 video, 1 graphic image, and possibly a carousel or another variation. When I do that, Facebook uses the data that they have to be able to put the ad, the creative that they feel is going to convert the best. So you're also leveraging the power of the algorithm, because Facebook does not continue to present videos to people that never consume videos on social media, and vice versa. So that's why we want to focus on just giving those 2 or 3 variations of ads and just letting Facebook do its thing with that particular audience. It's not confusing at all. On the ABO, we do the same. Yes, on the ABO, we also will do a maximum of 3 ads. And usually we like to put more than 1 ad just to keep that thing fresh with content, and also to be able to service people that like videos, and also like to service people that like reading stuff and watching things visually without having to consume a video. All right, I think we covered that. John, you can keep going.
Yes. So I'm going now back to our CBO setup. Again, your budget allocation will be on your campaign level. Just remember, if you are aiming to test out or use multiple audiences, that you have to allocate at least, as Manuel mentioned, a minimum of $5 per ad set or audience, just for Facebook to get you results, or for you to be able to get results for it. For example, on this test, we're going to test out or use 4 audiences in total. So I can go ahead and do $20. Again, this is depending on your budget for the campaigns you're going to run. So I'll do $20. And before I actually start creating the campaigns, you should also start with creating your custom audiences. We did cover this on the Facebook Masters course, and we did cover this on the coaching sessions. So I would recommend, if you don't know how to create these audiences yet, go through the Facebook Masters Index or the coaching index to watch the specific lessons that cover those. But let's say I already have the custom audiences created. As we mentioned earlier, it is highly advisable that you have audiences that are almost similar in sizes. So look at the audiences that you have created. If you just created them, it normally takes an hour or so for the audience size to, or the data to be populated on the custom audience. Normally when you create a new custom audience, it will just show ready to use, populating. Wait for it to show the correct number, so you can determine then afterwards if these audiences are quite similar in size. For example, I would use, these 2 audiences are almost similar in size, so I can pretty much use them under one CBO campaign. This can also be under one CBO campaign along with this, since they are under the 500 to 300 audience size criteria. So let's start with creating the campaign. Conversions, I already added my campaign name, again, naming convention, so you always know what the campaigns are for, what the audiences are, what the ads are. So first audience is, we're going to select or update the audience first. Country location, and select custom audience, and let's type in engaged. What audience name is this? NSUSA engaged. Oops. Oh, Facebook engaged. Okay. Okay, so currently audience size or potential reach, once you start adding them on the ad set, will vary a little bit, since we are actually narrowing down the audience to only United States. Facebook page engage generally creates the audience out of everyone that actually had engaged on the Facebook page, no matter the country location, in the past 90 days. So when we add that audience or custom audience onto our ad set, and we narrow it down by location, it will then just show the potential reach for the specific location you're aiming for. So since we are only aiming for United States, our potential reach dropped from 500K audience size, this is worldwide, to just 62K US audiences. And let's check 1865 plus. Since it's a custom audience, we no longer have to edit age and gender. And again, custom audiences don't need to have the detailed targeting expansion turned on. since you don't want to target cold audiences on this one, you specifically want to only target the custom or warm audiences that engage on your Facebook page. So just copy the ad set name, add the warm or W abbreviation on the ad set name so you'll know it's a warm audience. Placements, bid control, I'll leave it as is. Automatic placements is good with me. And next step is to get two options or three options for the ad setup. You can use or create an ad from scratch, or you can actually use a post ID, or if you have created ad sets or ads way ahead of time when you are planning to launch campaigns, you can use your Creative Hub. That's if you have a Creative Hub template created ahead. If not, then either use one from your previous campaign if you are aiming just to target bestsellers. So for this scenario, we're going to use another post ID section. I'm sorry, but I'm not really good with Spanish, but it's pretty much the same setup with ABO campaign. Create the ad set. So again, post ID. Always select your identity, because no matter if you have selected an incorrect identity and you added the post ID, it's gonna notify you that the post actually doesn't exist on the Facebook page. If you are using UTM parameters, if you are using URL parameters, then you can definitely add those. If not, then you can just leave it as is. Quick break. We have a question from Claudia regarding creative mockups. So this creative mockup is only available in conversions. Creative mockups is actually available in any type of campaign objective you're going to run. You can create mockups ahead of time for video views. You can create mockups ahead of time for traffic campaigns. You can create mockups ahead of time for conversion campaigns. The only set of mockups you could not create ahead of time, or the only type of mockups you actually could not create right now, would be your catalog ads. That is not available as of yet. So
Or
hopefully in
messaging.
the near future, or messaging, yes. Message campaigns you also could not create ahead of time, since those actually use Messenger setup, which mockups don't offer as of yet. So you add your post ID for the ad that you're going to run. On this example, we're going to use a post ID for a product, 𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗡. Reason being why I use post IDs is they already have a lot of engagements, a lot of testimonials, a lot of positive comments from customers, thus increasing the conversion rate of the campaign you're going to run.
Which I'll mention here. I'll mention here, since John is on this screen right here. You see all those different placements that on the right side, there's very different placements from Instagram to Facebook stories to Instagram stories to marketplace and so on. This is all customizable. This is actually something that was not possible before, but now it is possible. And this is a big update on the Facebook advertising world.
Yes, and it's also highly ideal if you're going to plan out your campaigns in the future. Let's say Black Friday, you're going to start creating or brainstorming about the campaigns, the creatives, the ad copy, the links that you're going to use. You can start creating those ahead of time on Creative Hub. And once you're ready to push for those campaigns or ad sets, you can just easily change the ad setup to use the Creative Hub mockup and select the mockups you created ahead of time. That way, it actually shortens the process of you creating those campaigns. You can pre-customize everything ahead of time, and you can see how they look like, or they would look on your newsfeed, on any other placements afterwards. So you can pretty much change almost anything on it. For example, placement stories has a different image. Instagram stories a different image or video. Everything is customizable, including having different ad copies, having different headlines, having different URLs per placement. Those are all customizable. So going back to our session or training, this is again a post ID for 𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗡. It's a video format type of ad. We already selected the post ID, so everything is all good. So I'm just going now to publish the campaign or the ad we just created. And as Manuel mentioned earlier, we like to have different variations of the campaigns we are running. One image, one video, one carousel as much as possible. Or another test you can do is for the same audience, you can have 3 product variations. That way they'll see a different product each time. So let's say audience 1, our Natural Slim Status Unidos Facebook page engaged for the last 90 days. Started with the cancer post ID. I wanted to promote a different product that is still under our best sellers list. So what I'll do is just duplicate the ad, assign the ad name for the next product, add the post ID for the second product in line. This is a version for an image. Oh, it's actually another video for Magic Mag. This format specifically has a testimonial section. So once you're good, you now can just go ahead and publish. So quick recap, we have CBO campaign currently has 1 audience or ad set on it and has 2 products on it. You can do up to 3 different products each time or up to 3 different creatives each time. You can test out different things since it's a CBO campaign. Facebook's algorithm will do its job on spending the money where you are getting the most of the results. So once you are good with the ads, you can easily just duplicate the ad set. It will automatically copy everything on the ads level and just change the audience. So quick note again, just ensure the audience sizes are almost similar. Since it's a CBO, Facebook will tend to spend more on audiences that are a little bit bigger. So for example, this one is only 5,000 potential reach in the US. So I'll check with a different audience. Let's say message the page. So for the custom audience that messaged the page for the last 365 days, I have 74,000 audience reach for US. So that is almost similar to the earlier one we created. I'll just change the ad set name. I already changed the custom audience we're using. Age, gender, detail targeting are all gonna remain as is. They are all in a standard format. Ads are all gonna be remaining as is. So I can just go ahead and publish. So right now with the 2 audience that we have for CBO campaign, initially they will have Facebook first will spend an equal amount of money until someone starts producing results. Once results starts to come in, Facebook then will optimize to whichever ad set or audience gives you the most results and then spend most of the budget in there. So don't worry about if, for example, after 24 hours, you see this ad set has $15 spent and this ad set only has $5 spent. You can then cross-check if which ad set actually is producing results. So the one that has the higher spend will always have the most results or purchases on it, depending on your campaign objective. If you are aiming for purchases, then the more money you spend, the more purchases it has. If the less money you spend, the less purchases it has, since Facebook has determined that this audience will not convert more even if it starts spending more. So with Facebook's data or information that they have for the customers, they can then decide what's best for your campaigns.